Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It has been quite a while since I've made a video. Your girl's been super busy. I have a lot of things coming up. I actually have a fellowship application that I'm in the middle of writing. I have 3 conferences that are coming up, so I'm trying to crank out some research so that way I can give the most updated version of my work as possible. Not to mention that I have 2 different projects. So going to 3 different conferences, presenting 2 different projects, a lot of writing to do. For those that know me, know I hate writing, so it's been a lot going on. But I'm super happy to finally be sitting here and just getting a video out. So today we are going to be talking about something that I feel is very important, and it's also a question that I get asked a lot. Why did I even choose astrophysics? How did I get here? So today I'm going to be going through my entire journey, how I became an astrophysicist, and also why. So everybody strap in. It's gonna be a bit of a story time. Get some tea if you want, get a drink, a snack. Let's go. Where do I even begin? The truth of the matter is, I actually didn't want to be an astrophysicist at all when I was younger. I had no interest in physics nor astronomy. I mean, sure, looking at the stars is really fun, really cool. But yeah, in high school, I didn't want to be a physicist at all. I actually wanted to be an archaeologist. That's the truth. I love history. I love the study of anthropology in general, just learning how human civilization came to be, different cultures and different societies, how certain practices are different. However, I come from a Nigerian family, and Nigerian parents have very high expectations for their children. So the truth of the matter is, my dad did not think that that was a sustainable career. And he looked me in the eyes and told me, I'm not gonna pay for you to go to school to do that. So your girl had to find a career that satisfied her parents. And a lot of people in my family are doctors or nurses, dentists, lawyers, but none of that interested me at all. I usually never like doing what I'm told. So I was like, I'm gonna do something that my dad thinks is cool, but also not really in the norm of the family. One day we were watching the Marvel movie Thor, and I thought it was super cool that Jane Foster is like, I'm an astrophysicist. I was like, wow, that's so empowering as a woman. That doesn't really seem like a career that a lot of women would choose. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be an astrophysicist. And I told my dad, and he was like, but you've never taken physics. How are you gonna apply to college? And I was like, okay, first of all, have some faith in me. I can finesse, I can work something out. There wasn't a physics class offered at my high school, but there was astronomy. So I figured, let me just take an astronomy class, see what it's about. Class was cute, it was fun, I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I was a pretty good student in high school in general. I never really struggled academically whenever it came to any math or science courses. So I did fine. I got an A in the class and everything, but still the same thing. Whenever I wanted to apply to universities, I was like, okay, I'm doing the whole astrophysics thing. My dad gave me the green light. So when it was time to apply to things, I struggled getting a letter of rec from my astronomy teacher. He didn't want to write me a letter because he was like, well, you've never taken a physics class. It might be too challenging. I was so sick and fucking tired of hearing people telling me it's too challenging. At whatever case, I don't really give a damn. Come rain, sunshine, if I have to move mountains, I'm gonna do it. I don't really care. That's one thing about me. I'm stubborn as hell. If someone tells me not to do something, or if somebody tells me I'm not gonna do something, I'm going to do it. I'm gonna work my hardest to do it. So now I'm becoming an astrophysicist purely out of spite, okay? I don't even know what it's about, but I'm just gonna do it. So I was able to get a letter of rec from my AP Chem teacher. Shout out to you. I got accepted into the University of Oklahoma to study astrophysics. So I went there to do my undergrad, mainly because my dad went to university there when he first came to the States. And also they had good sports programs, and I'm a sports fan. So I was like, oh, they have good football if all else fails. So I started my undergrad program in the fall of 2018. And I was like, okay, it's gonna be all fine and dandy. I'm good at math, I'm good at science, what could possibly go wrong? And yeah, I took my first ever physics class. And I feel like some people might be able to relate to this. If not, then I'm envious of you. But whew, Woo! My physics 1 class was so freaking hard, y'all. I had never experienced like anything like that in my entire life. First of all, the course was just incredibly fast. I was learning so much new material within 2 days, let alone a whole week. There were a lot of different like math concepts and physical concepts that I was completely unaware of. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, things are in 3D? Y'all, I was scared, okay? I was terrified. I wanted to quit my first week of class. That's how bad it was. My physics 1 class was physics for majors, not for like the general audience. So a lot of it was like calc based. And the way that they organized the class was they were just assuming that all of the students who were in the class had taken like a general physics class before. Like you'd taken physics in high school or something like that. But me, I had not taken any physics class before then. So your girl was fighting for her life, okay? So bad to the point, like I took my very first exam on like kinematics, I think was our first, and I failed that exam like so bad. Oh God, I got like a 50. I remember being like, I've never scored this low on an exam in my entire life. There's no way I could possibly like do any better than this. Like everyone else around me is doing so much better. They posted like the average scores after we were all handed our results back, and there were like 12 people in the class that got 100%. So I was like, I'm fucked. This is terrible. This is a horrible idea. Maybe everybody was right. I just remember like calling my dad and being like, I should change my major. This is not it. Everybody was right. And he was like, listen, you can do it. It's fine. You just need to take a deep breath in, go to office hours, try to find a tutor. Somebody there should be able to help you. So I decided to go into office hours one day, which is a very daunting experience. And my professor was like super chill about it. Honestly, I told him, listen, babe, I've never taken a single physics class coming into this. And he was very understanding because he was in the same shoes. He said that he was a theology major and decided one day, I'm just gonna study physics. And he said that when he took his very first physics exam, he got an 18%. So that made me feel a lot better because this is like a really big guy in physics, like works at CERN. So I would say like with quite a bit of help from my professor and also just getting used to like the rhythm of the class and finding like a good study habit, I was able to make it through. I ended up passing the class. I got an A. Your girl was good. I felt invincible. I felt accomplished. I like wanted to write back to my high school teacher and being like, hey, I got an A in physics 1 for majors. Imagine that. And then I went on to physics 2, which was I think like circuits and electricity. I also did very well in that class as well. I felt like super confident. I was like, wow, like I'm really learning the whole physics thing. Everything was going super well. Even taking modern physics and whatever couple classes like came after that. Started taking astrophysics classes and that was fun. And then the pandemic hit. And I think that everybody in the entire world can probably say that the pandemic had put a pin in their plans and everything kind of just like went to hell. So the pandemic was really hard, mainly for me, because I could not learn simply by reading material online or like through a book. Also, it was very hard for my professors to try to get through to us virtually. Waking up in the morning and just opening my laptop and hopping on Zoom was not ideal. Like I need to be in person, like in front of the professor, asking questions. I don't know, being in a classroom setting. I don't work very well from home, primarily because I'm obsessed with my bed and my stuffed animal. So it's not a very good working environment. I'm distracted by a lot of things like my TV and such. Also, I had moved back home after the pandemic had initially broke out because they canceled class and everything on campus. So I moved back home and I have 8 siblings and they all have bursting personalities. So it was very hard to get things done and also find some sort of sanity while at home. My relationship with my parents like also took a really big hit, and that was emotionally and like mentally very damaging because I was super close with my parents, especially my dad. And I think moving back home like at a time like as trying as the pandemic, especially when we had lost family members, was very hard and very emotionally straining. So I was suffering, needless to say, during the time of the pandemic. Also, there was a lot of like economic and financial hardship in my family. So whenever I had moved back to campus to resume in-person classes, my family couldn't support me financially anymore. So I had to take on 3 jobs to support myself, also while maintaining all of my academics. And this was a lot. It was so grueling trying to go to class, pick up 2 shifts a day, sometimes even 3, come home and like do homework or try to meet with a study group. And it was just a total nightmare, especially when you're in your junior year and classes are getting insanely difficult. Also, this is a time where you should be applying for internships and thinking about grad schools and what you want to do as like a career. Your girl had no time to think about any of that. Not only that, I didn't even really have like a professor that I was like close with that could make those opportunities accessible to me, mainly because nobody was willing to work with me in terms of research with my super hectic and busy schedule, understandably so, but it was hard because I felt like other students were succeeding and excelling, going to research internships like for the summer, for the year, connecting with other graduate programs, and I was just trying to survive, I guess. Not only that, but I only picked this major because I was trying to prove a point to myself and everybody who doubted me, so I wasn't even really sure if I wanted to do astrophysics anyways. So fast forward to multiple breakdowns later, multiple attempts at trying to quit the major in general. I was totally like done, broken. I think it was maybe the summer after my junior year. I'd given up on literally everything. I felt so down in the dumps, both mentally and emotionally. I was so burnt out. I was like, I don't even want to come back to university. I failed my first class ever. It was a math class, and crazy enough, I didn't even care that I failed at the time. I barely passed one of my upper level physics classes. I had applied to like 2 internships and didn't get into either of them. So I felt very much stuck. I had to reevaluate everything. I'm like, can I actually succeed in this? I have never taken on a research project because no professor wants to take me on. I am not making the best of grades right now. Who is going to want to let me into graduate school? Nobody. And also, who's going to want to let me into an internship? So I went the whole summer chronically depressed, didn't get out of my own bed to really eat or do anything except for go to work. The only thing that kept me pursuing to finish my degree in astrophysics was the fact that one professor finally let me in to her research group. Thank God. She is my undergraduate supervisor and mentor still to this day. I am eternally grateful for her. She was literally the only woman of color in the department, full of just white men, first of all. And I think maybe she saw a little bit of herself in me. So she let me into her research group. And from there, I was able to start an undergraduate thesis. Now, it was extremely hard because your girl was still working 3 jobs in the aftermath of the pandemic, but she worked with my schedule. She helped me a lot with my coding abilities and just like my research skills. She was also an outlet into helping me apply for internships and like refining my personal statements. This was truly the turning point in my entire journey, just because I would not have been exposed to any of the opportunities that I know of now and that I was informed of without her mentorship and without her help. So my senior year, I was hoping to apply to some graduate programs, but applying to grad school is just insanely expensive. It's like $100 an application. And at the time, I could not afford that. Not only that, but I was feeling super burnt out. So I was like, okay, I'll just let it go. Like next year, maybe if I'm still feeling the major, I can apply. However, my supervisor did connect me with one of her collaborators who works part-time in New York City and also in New Jersey. Or she was hoping to take on an intern. So I was hoping maybe like, this could be like a gap year for me. So I decided to apply, although I wasn't very hopeful because I thought the absolute worst of myself. I'm like, I can't see why anybody would accept me into anything. On paper, it looks like I'm barely hanging on based off of my previous semester's grades. But I still said, why not? Go ahead and apply to it. The application is free. Since I can't apply to grad school, let me apply to this. And then the rest of that year, although it was really hard trying to balance all of my responsibilities, but your girl completed an undergraduate thesis, your girl graduated, she officially had a bachelor's in astrophysics from the University of Oklahoma, And even better, I was accepted as an intern to work in New York City, which was absolutely like mind-blowing to me because I thought so negatively of myself for years. I'm like, I cannot do this. I cannot see myself being an astrophysicist, especially when I went on Google and saw that astrophysicists are white and male, and there were no YouTube videos to show what an astrophysicist does. So I'm like, am I even gonna like it? I don't know what it consists of. So I figured, all right, well, let's go to New York and see what that's like. So I decided to take a gap year to do some research, and I figured, hey, maybe I do want to go to grad school. Like, I look up to both of my supervisors, both in New York and Oklahoma, and it would be cool to be just like them. And maybe I could support a student who is in my shoes as well. What do I have to do to become like them? I've got to get a PhD. So I completed my internship. I learned a ton of research skills. I got to meet great people. I got to travel. I got to present my work. Like, I felt so good. I was on top of the world. I still feel on top of the world, it's okay. So my supervisors had both helped me narrow down like a list of graduate schools that I could apply to. And the top of my list was the University of Washington. I think it's mainly a full circle moment for me because whenever I was in high school and told my dad that I wanted to do astrophysics, he met an astrophysicist like randomly and was like, oh, if your daughter wants to do astrophysics, she's got to go to UW. And I remembered that for the longest. And it's just so funny because my undergraduate supervisor, she was a graduate from UW. And then my supervisor in New York, also a graduate from UW. So I'm like, okay, this is a sign. I need to go here. I feel like it's a rite of passage at this point. So UW was top of my list. And then I had a couple other like top schools as well, but I think UW was always at the top. So I applied and I got an interview and I got in. And now I'm here. I'm at the University of Washington doing my PhD. I am just one step closer to achieving my goals. And I think now that I sit here today, I can definitely say I am not here just to prove a point anymore. I truly think that along the journey, I've loved every single step. Not every single step. I truly love a lot of aspects that come along with the field. I love that I can travel. I love that I can be super creative, like in my research. I love that I get to collaborate with other people. I love that I get to share what I do with you guys and also with kids at the planetarium who are like 5 years old. I hope that I can continue to do this and maybe be an inspiration to somebody else, that it literally doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of you. It doesn't matter what anybody says that you are. First of all, nobody can make you something that you are not. If you know deep in your heart that you can be the absolute best version of yourself, then you can be that. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't pursue this because you're not smart enough, or you don't come from the right background, you don't come from money, you don't come from this. None of that even matters. All that you need really is like belief in yourself. If you are surrounded by a team of people that truly believe in you, that is all that you need at the end of the day. Trust and believe when I say I was and still am not the smartest person that walks into a room every single time. I didn't make straight A's when I was in high school. I mean, close, but I didn't make straight A's when I was in high school. And you can still fail a class in college. Look at me. But you can also still fail a class, retake the class, and get an A in the same class. Mainly I say that because I'm throwing shots at my math professor that failed me. But all this to say, if you want to study astrophysics, you can totally do it. I promise you can. It will be hard, but it'll be rewarding in the end. I am here to answer any questions that you might have. I'm here to share any resources that you might need. I truly want to see more women in the field, specifically women of color. It truly makes my day seeing your guys' comments. Like, I'm pursuing a degree in astrophysics. Like, I'm super excited. Like, I come from this background. I'm like, oh, finally. Like, representation, I think, is what we need. You can't be what you can't see. If we only have all of these astronomers who are all rich white men coming from the same background, then it's not going to seem like people like me can also be successful in the field. I'm just so proud that I can confidently say that I, Oge Okoronkwo, first generation Nigerian American, faced multiple adversities from people who doubted her, didn't believe in her, didn't want to take a chance on her can sit here and proudly say that I have a degree in astrophysics and I will get my PhD in astrophysics. And you can too. It doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter race, gender, sexual orientation, nothing. If I can sit here and say that, you can too. And I hope that that resonates with you. With that, I'm gonna bring this video to an end. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. I promise I'm going to be more consistent going forward now that all of my deadlines are coming to a little bit of a halt. But I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Feel free to leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys and I reply to every single one. Again, thank you so much and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.